Hey Cobra Kai fans, welcome back to a new video. So we're going to be breaking down episode 1 Aftermath of season 3. I'm going to be looking at missed details, Easter eggs, references and so much more. So smash 500 likes on this video if you want to see more like this. So Miguel is seen at All Valley tournament, and this is a way of symbolizing his battle with his coma. It's very similar to the intro in season 1 with Johnny and Daniel at the 1984 tournament, and the same music plays on top of this scene. One of the residents in the valley refers to karate back in the 80s and saying that he didn't know it was as popular as it was back then. Amanda and Daniel arrive at the school, and Amanda's clean orders Sam's suspension and says that, which is a clear and funny reference to the film Shawshank Redemption. At the PTA school meeting, someone shouts at Daniel saying that he was a real bully after he said that he was bullied at school and that karate helped him defend himself from bullies. And the person that shouted at Daniel was none other than Josh Hill, one of the writers of Cobra Kai and a big fan of the Karate Kid franchise. So it's quite funny that he was the one that shouted this, and it pays reference to that theory that's been known for many years now. Daniel was the bully instead of Johnny. Amanda rightly blames Tori for starting the fight and refers to her as Freddy Krueger as she cuts Sam with her spiky bracelet, which was subtle foreshadowing for the nightmare that Sam has at the start of episode 7, where she sees Tori drowning her, and Tori is literally one of her nightmares. A woman responds to Amanda by saying Sam was tramping around with the other girl's boyfriend, which might relate to the fan theory about Sam being the problem as an individual in season 2 and even caused the school fight. Although I'm not blaming Sam, I know that Tori made a bad choice. Daniel defends the fact it wasn't Sam's fault, and the character that many believe to be Miguel's father responds to LaRusso. He blames his students that were involved in the fight for teaching them karate, and he says that they hurt Diaz, which was probably playing on the idea that we thought that he was the father of Miguel. The officer at the police station looks at the list of new prisoners and recognizes Johnny's name and refers to him as the Applebee's guy, because this is a reference to season 1 episode 1 when Sid mentions that he bailed Johnny out again after the time at Applebee's, and in the first episode he gets arrested after beating Kyla's friends. And here Sid says, I'm bailing you out again after Applebee's. On Sam's laptop you can see the latest article for Valley News, and you can see to the right an article saying about a police arrest suspect in Encino burglary. Maybe this was one of the guys that knew Robbie that were arrested, although it says suspect, so it's only one of them. Sam's room has a few books, with one of them titled Caribbean. This might be one of her vacations from the past, and just before this shot you can see closely a folder titled Vacation Pics on her laptop. The tension between Miyagi and Cobra Kai students is apparent, and in this shot we see Nate shout sup front wedgie to Yasmin after her wedgie that she received by Aisha in season 1 episode 9. Nate, you are a savage for that one, son. Moon tells Yasmin that Aisha has moved to a private school and that their house has been put up for sale. Aisha was not in season 3 as she wasn't written in the script, and Josh Hill answered the question on EW about Nicole Brown's Aisha and that she could return as they never truly write characters out of the story. Dimitri approaches an anxious Sam and calls her Captain Marvel, which is a subtle reference to Brie Larson's Captain Marvel in the MCU. We don't approve of her though, she hates men.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
At the LaRusso auto dealership, Louis informs Amanda and Daniel about a missing car, and if you look closely at the computer desktop, you can see a folder that says sexy girls. Guess this is Louis' collection of porn.
It's not porno this time.
Louis tells Amanda and Daniel about the missing car, and they know that this was Robbie as he knew the gate codes. This might be a subtle reference to the time Robbie got the code to the dealership in season 1 when he recorded Amanda entering the access code, although they didn't know Robbie actually did this as he never used the code or ever gave it to Trey and Cruz. Daniel believes they can track Robbie down with this installed GPS, as Amanda says all the cars have it, but we find out that Robbie took the GPS out, which might not only be because of Daniel's car security, but because he remembered that Daniel found him and Sam at Johnny's with Sam's phone finder, so he knew that Daniel was a bit paranoid and overprotective of Sam and in general with security and location. Johnny gets bailed out of prison by this bail bonds person, and he tells Johnny that he cannot miss his court date, otherwise he'll be after him. We don't know when this court date is, and he might miss this in season 4, and if he does, he could miss the next tournament or even require bail from Daniel. We see Carmen and Rosa visit Miguel at the hospital, and when Rosa kisses Miguel's hand, she's holding praying healing beads, which almost symbolize the scratch that Sam has on her arm. This could be a stretch, but I just find that too coincidental to look similar to the scar and then the way that Sam was cut. Daniel arrives at Miyagi-Do thinking that Robbie may have arrived there as it was near the location of the GPS, but instead he finds Sam alone, and as a dad he comforts her about her trauma from the school fight and reminisces on times where he had to be strong and embrace the problems that he had rather than run away from them. He takes the blame for the school fight because of his rivalry between him and Johnny, which is a reference to the OG Karate Kid and all the troubles that he had with Johnny in school, and because he faced his problems he came out on top. Johnny's motivating words for Miguel changes the fight in his coma. As you can see, the Yoshukai karate student gets the upper hand and Miguel gets more angry. This might foreshadow his frustration towards Johnny after episode 1 when he wakes up and sees Johnny and tells him that he trusted him with everything that he told him to do. Daniel enters Cobra Kai dojo and sees the new fear does not exist in this dojo quote, which is a nod to the scene in Karate Kid 1 when Daniel enters the Cobra Kai dojo for the very first time and hears Kreese chant the same words to his students. He even mentions Johnny, who was the first person he recognized in the dojo.
Johnny?
Daniel sees a cutout of Kreese, which was what he saw in the first film when he enters the dojo, and maybe this is a subtle nod to the Kreese Kringles they were promoting during the festive period. Kreese mentions Daniel's words when he said there's no such thing as a bad teacher, only a bad student, which is a parallel to the speech he gives Robbie at the All Valley tournament in season 1. Kreese insults Miyagi, and Daniel refers to all the times that they had fights in the past, with Miyagi winning every single fight he's had against Kreese. It's really hard to accept when you're on the losing end, isn't it, Kreese? Daniel says he's learned true karate from Miyagi, so therefore he will not fight Kreese. However, Kreese says, oh, it's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
Which not only foreshadows their fight in the finale, but it could be a nod to Thanos' I am inevitable quote in Endgame. Maybe the writers are big fans of the MCU. Kreese says Johnny and I will finish it once and for all, which is a nice parallel to the fight in the finale, which foreshadows the moment Johnny and Daniel have in the finale where he could finish Kreese once and for all. Kreese nearly ate his own words there, and Daniel says he's not going to do anything while he's around, which also foreshadowed the Miyagi pressure points technique that he uses on Kreese when he's literally paralyzed and can't even do anything, which really played on the words that Daniel says to him. Kreese says to Daniel, you know where to find me, and Daniel knows exactly where he is in the finale after he sends the Cobra Kai students to his house to attack Sam and the Miyagi-Do students, and Daniel just about saves Johnny. Daniel arrives at Johnny's apartment and says, don't you ever answer the phone, which referred to the moment he threw his phone on the beach at the end of season 2. Daniel wants Johnny to help him find Robbie and says all of the recent events happened because of them. He says the only way to end this is by working together, which subtly foreshadowed their team up in the final scene of season 3. In this shot of Robbie, we see him wearing a hoodie and a grey sweatshirt, which look very similar to the sweatshirt worn by Daniel in this shot with Miyagi as he trains. Miguel wakes up and wins the match, symbolizing his defeat from his coma. The shot of Miguel looks very similar to the shot of Doug in Iron Eagle, when Johnny was watching the film in season 1 episode 1 H Degenerate. Chappie says to Doug some significant words that may have foreshadowed the injury that Miguel sustains at the end of season 2, and his speech mirrors the way Johnny talks to Miguel in his coma, and in a sense saying what Johnny is to Miguel is what Chappie is to Doug.
A bunch of things must have gone wrong if you're listening to this. Whatever happened, I know you must be real scared. Right now, probably filled with all the doubts in the world.
A bunch of things must have gone wrong if you're listening to this, which is literally how Johnny is talking to Miguel, in the sense that things have gone wrong and you can hear me in your coma. This may have showed that Miguel was struggling with the doubt he had from not waking up, and when he hears Johnny's words, it symbolizes a message that Doug hears from Chappie, and thus this encouraged Miguel to really fight and wake up, and then we see him win the karate tournament and he wins his battle. Now this might be a stretch, but when Daniel pops up on the screen saying Bonsai, this might actually be the moment that Miguel wakes up from his coma. A little nod to Rob Garrison at the end there as well, which was really nice. Rest in peace to him. And guys, thank you for watching this video. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more content on CKN. I'll see you guys in the next breakdown.